Our mission continues on. I'm not done. The mission will perhaps take on a new name, and it may be no longer called Veritas. So Project Veritas, I'll meet a bunch of people around me, and I'll make sure you know how to find me.
This is not often a topic I weigh into, the internal affairs of allies in our fight to restore the Republic, but the news of James O'Keefe's fallout last night from Project Veritas is grave and should not be taken lightly. As the purveyors of truth and freedom of information, O'Keefe's strife with the organization creates an opportunity for a massive blow to those rights. James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. It's now more important than ever that supporters mobilize in this fight against censorship so that conservatives and free speech will still remain a protected right in our country. We must stand.
So James O'Keefe, there's a big story going on online right now, just got removed or fired from Project Veritas, a company that he helped start. You know, whenever you think of Project Veritas, you think of James O'Keefe, this company. Well, it seems that he built up his company, blew it up, you know, put a board together, and the board decided to fire him. So this is crazy news. And the reason why he got fired is even crazier. Let's keep looking.
O'Keefe and defy those who are waging war on truth and justice. Together, we can keep fighting for truth, liberty, and freedom of speech. I'm Gary Franchi. I want you to keep up with the latest news tabs.
So James O'Keefe, he will go against the mainstream narrative, right? Whatever hold on.
Background details out of the way. In the wake of their most controversial undercover investigation to date featuring a Pfizer executive, Project Veritas has taken a hard blow. News of Project Veritas founder and CEO James O'Keefe's abuse from the organization he founded has been revealed. Some have alleged Pfizer themselves are behind this whole affair in an eye for eye, if you will, putting pressure on the Veritas board of directors behind the scenes. Public social media stats show the organization's social media properties are
And that's another thing. This story is about money. How big money, the Pfizer company, were able to reach the board of directors of Project Veritas and get rid of James O'Keefe. Because he put together the biggest story against Pfizer. A story that he accumulated like 50 million views, the most views in anything that has to do with Project Veritas. But it was against Pfizer. So it was against big money. And it's amazing the reach of these big companies. They were able to reach out, contact the board of directors, and say, you got to fire this guy. You have to get rid of this guy. Period. And then in a move that he wasn't even present, like he was on the phone, he tells a story, later on I'm going to try to play it, that he was just on the phone and they called him up and they told him, you know, what was happening, that they had to remove him. So it's like, how much money did Pfizer put together to get this done? Like, it's crazy how money runs the world. And at the end of the day, his own company fired him. That's insane. Let's keep listening.
Emerging followers. This is their YouTube count. Take a look at how dramatic these numbers are. We'll scroll down a little bit here. Look at this. Monday and Tuesday, 40,000, 10,000. That's 50,000 followers on YouTube alone.
So they're losing followers after this news that James O'Keefe is gone. He read a whole letter to his staff, letting them know that he's packing up and leaving. And he's going to be fine. You know, he's a journalist, reporter. He'll come up with a different company and continue moving forward.
Live subscriber count or follower count on Twitter. We're going to continue to watch this throughout this report. But the reality is this, that reports, they state, of Project Veritas employee dissatisfaction with O'Keefe's management owing to alleged mismanagement of funds and cruelty towards staff. O'Keefe announced his departure and gathered his belongings in an emotional 15-minute video that was leaked to the Gateway Pundit. Let's take a look at a small clip from that moment.
There were tactical disagreements about the boldness of approaches soliciting donations. I was told, and I'm paraphrasing, by asking for X dollars right now, you will prevent 10X dollars down the road. That advice ran contrary to everything I knew to be true in my 13 years of fundraising. But that conflict was even more fundamental and essentially boiled down to this. And my vision, I'm going to paraphrase Howard Rourke, the architect, quote, I don't build in order to have donors. I have donors in order to build.
Nice.
That's what I believed, and I felt like we had a conflict of visions. We measure our success in terms of what we produce, not just in terms of our wallets. That was a pretty fundamental conflict, I felt. The day prior, I'd informed him in front of his colleagues that if he wasn't willing to follow my lead, he'd be shown the door. I tried to deal with it privately, but I was unsuccessful, and the disagreement boiled over publicly in a staff meeting. The next day, this individual refused to resign, so I fired him. Later that same day, that's Thursday, February 2nd, a few days after the 50 million viewed Pfizer videos, I was informed by a different officer of Project Veritas that he would go to the board in a few hours from that moment and have an emergency vote to restructure this company. Receiving an agenda in my email while I was sitting on an airplane tarmac with the doors closing, the meeting was scheduled for the moment that my plane landed in Nashville. It became clear to me in that moment I would be removed from my position at Project Veritas by the time I landed at my destination. So, our mission continues on. I'm not done. The mission will perhaps take on a new name, and it may be no longer called Veritas. So, Project Veritas, I'll need a bunch of people around me, and I'll make sure you know how to find me. So with that, I'm going to collect my things. I'm going to load them into my car. And I hope to see some of you soon.
That's just amazing. The reach that these corporations have. Such a good grip on the industry and the message that's being put out there that they were able to reach to the board of directors and get this man pushed out. I'm sorry, but he got to go. It's like, that just goes to show, Pfizer has a tight grip on the industry because a lot of it has to do with messaging. The message is being put out there, and they didn't like the message being put out there, and so they reached out to this particular organization to get rid of the head of the organization, the main guy. Now it's going to be interesting how Project Veritas is going to put this together. In the end, they might just let the company go. Who knows? Let's see what happens next with that company. And with James o-Keefe, he's a reporter. He'll move on. He'll continue moving forward. But it's just amazing how big money has a tight grip on the industry because money goes the world go around, what do you think? How much they got paid for this? How much the organization, how much money got put in their pocket to get this done, to get this man fired? That's one of the questions that I have. How much money do you put on an individual's pocket to get a man out? Insane.
Absolutely tragic. Now, following James' very public fallout and the massive departure of Veritas supporters from all platforms, the Veritas board of directors issued a statement declaring James was suspended indefinitely and that the board wants to work things out with James, also stating that with all the public fallout, the board wants to speak with James. They said that we didn't fire him, nor do we want him to resign. We'd like to continue conversations with James to resolve internal matters rather than litigate them publicly. The Next News Network has been a supporter of James o-Keefe and his efforts from its earliest days. We've donated thousands of dollars to the whistleblowers over the years, even hired one of them, an Ivory Hecker, and have donated.
I think you're never going to hear the fact that it was Pfizer. I'm saying it because I'm nobody here, but you're never going to hear that Pfizer was able to get the grips inside of that news company and get that man fired. That's how upset they were with the news story. And if you go online, there's a news story where James o-Keefe confronted a guy from Pfizer that said that they were, what they were doing, replicating or no. The COVID virus, they were making it stronger or they were replicating or something to that effect where they're making it tougher. Or they were creating, like a COVID virus to release on people. And it was bad for Pfizer, that story. Definitely wake people up. And he does a lot of those stories that wake people up to the reality of things, what's happening out there. So what a company like Pfizer is doing, a giant like Pfizer is doing. But let's hear a little more.
Monthly since 2019. Well, that ended last night when I learned that James had departed. James worked hard for Project Veritas, and despite the board's allegations that he spent an excessive amount of donor funds in the last 3 years on personal luxuries, I'm perfectly fine with that. He deserves to celebrate the fruits of his labor as he strikes at the root of the corruption rotting America.
It's his company, his money.
Or the allegations made about James, we must now fight back against this betrayal by helping James remain true to his founding mission, to carry out investigative journalism to expose corruption, dishonesty, and bias. Now, he left us with this tweet stating, "I need to make clear I have not resigned from the company, Project Veritas, I founded 13 years ago. I was stripped of my position as CEO and chairman. Therefore, I propose this call to action. If you're a recurring donor, suspend."
I think a lot of companies, they go into this rabbit hole of exposing until money shuts them up. Put money in their pocket. Let them know. You continue down this road, you're going to go broke. Then they shut up. And this seems to be what's happening here. Like, if he goes back to Project Veritas, is he going to stop exposing big company? Is he going to be more just quiet about everything, about all the crazy things going on? Because somebody got to expose them. And he might be on which team is going to be on? The team that is exposing them, or with the big companies keeping it hush and continue to do their, I don't know, bad activities?
Your donations until this is resolved. If you follow them on social media, unfollow all accounts associated with Project Veritas and follow James' personal accounts to learn directly from him what his next moves are. Project Veritas was a formidable force in furthering the cause of restoring the Republic, and it's concerning to see James O'Keefe depart from Project Veritas without warning after more than a decade. It appears that Project Veritas was betrayed by its own board of directors and James' mission was derailed. In order to counteract such an event, we must come together and suspend our donations as recurring Project Veritas donors. And
he's correct, 100% correct. You know what I mean? He's being derailed. His own team, the people from the inside working with him, were able to just turn the switch off or shut him up or get him exiled from the company, which is crazy. You know, money does things. So yeah, suspend all donations and everything else he said.
In addition to suspending donations, Project Veritas followers ought to unfollow all Project Veritas accounts on social media and follow James' personal accounts instead. We here at Next News are unyielding in our support of James' endeavors, and we believe ousting a fearless leader should not go unnoticed. Though he may be out of public view for some time, stay tuned, as we're confident that his reemergence will be nothing short of spectacular. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below for the Next News Network.
So it's insane, the reach, but at the end of the day, that's how the world works. You know, money makes things go around. You know, you put a price tag on somebody and you see things happen. Like the board just chopped this man's heads off. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean. Like they really got rid of him. He'll be coming back, maybe not with Project Veritas, maybe on his own. And let's see, he gets to reassess everything that's happening. Should he continue down this path of exposing the big companies or exposing crazy activity that the democracy is doing? Because this is one way that democracy works. You know, you got to expose them and keep them calm and not let them get out of hand. You know, what Pfizer was doing there was getting out of hand. And he exposed them, bad move, and they made their move. They got him fired from his own company. So that's a crazy story. It just happened. And it just goes to show the reach of big money. And that's what we're never going to see, like main news, like ABC, MSNBC, CNN, all of them getting paid by Pfizer. You know what I mean? They put Pfizer in a positive light towards the people. And they got to continue doing that. They will never talk negative against Pfizer or any of those big companies that are big donators. That's where the bread and butter is. So it's up to the little people, the people who are online and doing their own investigations and publishing. It's up to them or us to put things out there. But again, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, our big story is happening right now. And that's my opinion. The fact that big Pfizer was able to get rid of him, we'll continue to see what's next for him and what's next for Project Veritas. And when that happens, I'll come back and make another video. I thought that was just really cool. My name is Noel. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'm up to 99 subscribers. Yes. So if you got this far in the video, please subscribe. All right, see you in the next one.